Hey guys, it's me, Sharmise, aka Professor Mo, and I am back with part 3 of our 30-part series on public speaking. Today we're going to talk about understanding your audience, and I think it's super important to kind of figure that out as you are preparing for your speech. If you do have the luxury of surveying your audience prior to your speech, that's a really good advantage to have, but that's not always what you're able to do. In the case that you did have the opportunity to survey your audience, some things you could do are ask questions in class, at work, in between meetings, things of that nature, to kind of just pick everybody's brain to give you an idea of what you need to share. And another thing that I have encouraged my students to do is do like polls on social media to kind of gauge everybody and just see what you can get to help you best prepare for your speech. In the case that you don't have that luxury, my best advice would be to engage with the audience through questions. So a lot of times when I start a speech, I'm like, by a show of hands. And I'm trying to see who knows what, who's been here, who has heard of this. And that kind of gives you a guide to how much information you need to share and how deep you need to go. So if everybody in the room raises their hand, the best thing that you can do is not be crazy technical, but you can somewhat glance over the topic, if that makes sense. If majority of the people in the room have not experience what you're referring to or are not as knowledgeable about what you're referring to, you then have an opportunity to go a little bit more in depth, not too technical because that's annoying. So keep that in mind as you are preparing for your speech and beginning to execute your speech. I think using the audience as a co-pilot is a really great way to just kind of guide you. By constantly engaging through questions, and then you then have an opportunity to kind of see how you want to navigate your speech. In this situation where you are sharing a certain amount of information, it's really important to, if you don't know what the audience is aware of, don't overestimate what they know, meaning don't assume that everybody's a subject matter expert, but then don't underestimate what the audience knows, because then you find yourself in a place of potentially talking to the audience like they're stupid, and that's not okay. I have witnessed speeches like that, and the audiences, often pick up on that, and it's kind of like not a good time. So that's something to consider. So when you figure out what the audience knows or doesn't know, you have to consider what they need from you or what they're expecting from you. If I were in an audience in an informative speech or persuasive speech, whatever the speech looks like, if the speaker is sharing certain information, I'm expecting researched information, name dropping, citing sources. I want to know what's what. And then I also expect clear information so I know what I'm going to take away. If you're sharing information with me, I should have a couple takeaways from the information that you have shared. So as you are preparing your speech and getting ready to share information with the audience, put yourself in the audience's seat for a second and make sure that the information that you are sharing is information that you would want to sit and listen to. That's super important as you're preparing a speech. I used to grade papers years ago, and I was like, nobody wants to read this. Write something that you would want to read. Prepare a speech that is exciting to you so that it is also equally exciting to your audience. I guess that's kind of really it. As a public speaker standing in front of people, you are the subject matter expert. So it's really important for you to prepare as best as possible. If you can, survey the audience in as many ways as you can to gauge what they know, what they need to know, what they expect from you. If you can't, engage through asking those questions. Head nods, hand raises, yes or no, quickly, and that will guide you throughout your speech. That's really it. So today we talked about understanding your audience. I think it's really important to read the room and kind of feel the vibes and let it guide you. But that also means you have to have a well-prepared, well-researched speech. You can do it. I'll see you guys next time.